Distinguished participants, dear friends, thank you for welcoming UNHCR to this important event. I know that you are here now these days discussing the role and the responsibility of universities towards refugees and migrants, which is very close to the meaning and the values of UNHCR. Because education is about proving to the world that refugees are not just refugees. Refugees are students, refugees are engineers, refugees are doctors, refugees are leaders. Mary Maker, this was a wonderful input, right? Very human, very trying to get us to live ourselves or to see ourselves in her situation. And I think she illustrates very concretely this point about it's not just about making space for refugees. It's not just about, making space for refugees as such. It's about making space with refugees, listening to their ideas, in recognizing the knowledge, inviting the solutions that refugees are bringing to the table. No story illustrates also this better than Rehema's. Who is Rehema? Rehema is a young woman. She comes from the Democratic Republic of Congo. When she's asked to describe her country of origin, she speaks about its beauty, its many resources, but also about the conflicts, about the divisions and what tears it apart. She was, because of that, she had to flee with her family to South Africa. And then she thought, now I'm leaving the war behind. But then she comes to South Africa, and here she realizes she has to daily fight for her dignity, for her survival. And she realized that the only way of getting freedom is through education. Like in the case of Mary, her family said, why don't you go the traditional way? Marry. But she wanted herself to be free through education. Now she's studying international relations here in Cagliari, in Italy, and she's excelling. She is one of 300 students that has come to Italy through the UNICORE program. This is the University Corridor for Refugees program, UNICORE, which since 2019, this initiative has grown, thanks to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Development, thanks to Caritas Italiana, thanks to Diaconia Valdese, JRS Italy, and above all, the commitment and the vision of 45 Italian universities who believed in the power of the project, who believed in dedicating themselves to this and helping getting university opportunities for these students. Rehema's story is not only exceptional because of her determination. She's one in very few who makes it. But it's also exceptional because it reminds us of three key truths about refugees and higher education. One, access to higher education for most refugees is an uphill battle. When we look at the numbers, the UNHCR education report from 2025 only 9% of refugees get access to higher education. If you compare that to youth globally, it's 43%. So 9 compared to 43%. And it's not getting better. If we look at the secondary education, we see a fall of refugees enrolled. It has gone from 42 to 37%. And there's a persistent gap between boys and girls. Now, today, nearly half of refugees globally are under 18. So that means in the next decade, millions of them will reach university age. If we are serious about the 15 by 30 goal, meaning that 15% of refugees are enrolled in higher education, it means that we have to make space for 600,000 refugee students. Let's do that. Now, I think you know very well that the reason why so few refugees are enrolled in tertiary education is not because of lack of interest. It's not because they do not know what impact it could have for them and the communities around. It's because we have a handful of refugee-specific scholarships for universities, and so many who need it. So behind this, the real question is also, what are we losing for every one of these young people who cannot make it to university? And this brings me to the second point, the widespread benefits of refugees accessing tertiary education. Education restores identity, it restores dignity, and it restores agency. Every course completed, every assignment submitted, every degree achieved is a declaration. I'm here, I'm capable, and I matter. If we look at today also, the number of opportunities for refugees out there for solutions have gone down considerably in terms of resettlement. With the suspension of the US resettlement program, the biggest program of all, even that by itself emphasizes the importance of increasing the education pathways. And the impact, as I said, and as we know, extends far beyond the individual of getting access to education at the higher level. Bernice, who's another UNICOR student, said this in a very powerful manner at the 2023 Global Refugee Forum. She said, "A self-reliant individual is not an island, but a force that uplifts others, inspires others, and creates a ripple effect of empowerment." We also know from evidence that when you educate a woman, she marries later, she educates her children, she strengthens economies. Higher education yields the greatest economic return, 17% increase in earnings, compared to, if you look at, for primary education, that's 10%, and for secondary education, that's 7%. And for women, this impact is even higher. And the benefits ripple outward. Educated refugees fill critical workforce gaps whether we talk about in healthcare, in engineering, they make leaders of their communities. They really make a difference. Investing in their education reduces long-term dependency and creates self-reliance. From a host perspective, besides the workforce, it also means that you get intellectual diversity, new perspectives, and stronger partnerships. For students, they learn empathy, cross-cultural collaboration, and resilience. Supporting refugee education is a tangible expression of global leadership and solidarity. Now, the Duffy Scholarship, which I'm sure you have heard about, is really a shining example. Since 1992, it has supported 27,200 students in 58 countries getting access to tertiary education. And in 2024, it reached a milestone where 60% of those students benefiting were women. They continue, Duffy continues to expand the program in Africa in particular, and this is where we have most and the majority of refugees. So this leads me to the third point, the power of collaboration. Duffy, Unicore, these are proofs of what we can achieve when we work together, when we fund, when we find our ways to address the bureaucratic obstacles, when we open the doors. At UNHCR, we know this very well, the importance of collaboration and partnership. And many of your universities know this also very well. This is why today I want to extend a call to you. A call for you to join the initiative, Each One, Take One. Each One, Take One is a global solidarity movement of universities working with UNHCR to expand the access of refugees to tertiary education. It provides universities with the tools and the support and the networks that you need to successfully include refugees into higher education. It asks every institution to stand in solidarity with refugees through scholarships, through advocacy, through building truly inclusive academic communities. So by joining, your university will become part of a movement connecting leadership, faculty, and students to drive real change. You will get visibility, recognition, and no doubt impact. You will help advance the development goals, but above all, this is a chance to turn hope into opportunity. Pope Leo, our new Pope, for the Jubilee of Migrants and of the missionary world that will be celebrated this weekend, invites us to see migrants as missionaries of hope. And truly, where can hope become more real, more visible, more actionable than in university? Academia is a sacred ground. This is where ideas are born and where change is made real. Rehema, who I spoke to initially, she made a speech during the opening of the academic year. And in that, she said something that embodies this mission. She said, "Today I stand before you, not only as a student, not only as a refugee, but as a fighter. I fought to be here today. I fought to be heard. I fought to be seen. I fought against a world that told me I didn't matter, that my dreams weren't valid, that my voice wasn't important. Friends, this is the spirit we must carry forward, because every university, every classroom, every lecture hall holds the power to turn refugee struggle into strength and hope into action. And when we do this, we do more than change individual lives. We contribute to transforming our societies, and we prove together that hope has a home. Thank you.